Working hard to make the world great for all dogs. It's the Digger Digger Doggos Podcast.
All right, so here we are, guys. This is our 5th episode of Triple D, and I'm so excited to have some very special guests with us today. You might recognize this beautiful lady to my right. She joined us for last podcast, and next to her is her, I was going to say beautiful but husband. Very good-looking, attractive husband, Matt. Matt is with us today. And then we have the most special guest with us of all, a dog that we have talked about on several of our other podcasts. This is the infamous, the famous, the survivor of the Carson shelter. We have Ace with us today. And so we're super excited that all of you could join us today. Hey. Thanks for being here with us. And Yuki, we always start off with something to drink. We started a little early, but what are we drinking today, my friend?
We are
Shout it out.
Scout and Cellar, the was a Pip Greeter.
Yuki had his eyes dilated earlier, so he doesn't really
hard
know
to read.
what he is
Things are blurry.
reading or what he's saying. So
it is the 2021 Bubbly White.
whatever it is, it's really
Yes,
good.
it's
Clean
fantastic.
crafted wine. So,
Yes.
hey, shout out to Scout and Cellar.
No added sugar, no food coloring.
This is
no
turned into an alcohol ad.
It's pure and clean, healthy.
All right, well, pass it down. Give yourself a little pour, and
Okay,
then
I already
Camille
poured
and
mine.
Matt, and then we'll get started. So, again, you guys, we're here with Matt and Camille, and like I shared just a few moments ago, Camille was with us previously because
Matt, did you
she
want more?
I'm good.
and her family adopted Ace from the Carson shelters. So before we dive into the podcast, because it's been a little while, so why don't we all share what has been going on in our lives? Matt, you have a story to share? Anything exciting?
Oh, we did a little hiking up at Mount Baldy,
Okay.
and we spent the little day at the beach in the overcast weather. It was pretty though.
And you always take Ace with you, right? Because Ace, as you'll probably hear later in this podcast, is very much an outdoorsy. I mean, y'all have taken him, just kind of run down the list of the places that this dog has seen since he left Carson shelter.
He's been to Utah.
Okay.
He's been to Arizona. He's been to Bishop. Where else? Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
San Francisco. Big Bear.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Does he have his own Instagram page?
He does not.
He should.
I'm so bad with Instagram.
I am too.
I can't keep
Terrible.
up.
I know. If nothing else, I hope y'all are making a scrapbook.
I mean, I have thousands of pictures of him, so
Yeah.
I will eventually.
He's
Okay.
also been to Badwater.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
The
right.
Mojave
We
Desert.
went.
yeah.
Yes.
We went to Death Valley.
We went
Yeah.
to Death Valley.
Yeah.
We sure did. We drove all the way out there, Yuki.
The lowest point in the nation,
Yeah.
actually.
Yuki rented
An RV.
an RV, and we left early in the morning. I had a few of my dogs. Yuki had one of his dogs, Angel, and we drove out there like bats out of hell. How long did it take us to get there?
Oh, it must have been like 6 hours. I
And then
think.
we spent about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It was hot.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we took some pictures. Actually, they just came up in my phone the other day. I was holding my Blanco, who's in heaven now, and Buttercup. I had Buttercup, and then Ace was there. And then we turned around and came back to good old Gardena, California. So, yeah, it's great. When you get a dog out of a shelter, you get to have lots of adventures with those dogs. And we just had a dog here last night. This is the foster home. We've shared that before. And so occasionally we do have dogs in here some long periods of time, like our beautiful boy Ace was here for 2 years, as some of you know. And then last night we had a dog here for just a night, Samson, out of the Carson shelter. His fosters that had taken him in decided it wasn't going to be a good fit. So that was interesting. It's always interesting to bring a dog into a home with other dogs, but he was a very sweet dog. I personally, as a dog trainer and somebody who has, several of my own dogs, will always separate that dog initially just to make sure that their temperament is good. But he did not want to be alone. So he came out with my dogs. He's a little poodle mix, really sweet boy. And he spent the night with us last night, so that was great. And there's always a dog coming and going here. I think we've had several dogs out of the shelter over the past couple weeks. We had the bonded brothers, Achilles and Adonis. We had Sweetie Pie and Squirmy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another dog, Lucky,
Yes.
that little guy.
Yep.
And so actually, like at this stage of the game for me, 24 to 48 hours of fostering is pretty good for me. But we do need long-term fosters. And we talked about that in a previous podcast. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me. Yuki, what about you? What's exciting?
Still looking at pictures of my granddaughter that was born on December 4th.
She's precious.
She's getting bigger and getting stronger. She's starting to hold her head up by herself. And pretty soon she'll probably start rolling and then crawling. And then she'll go out of control after that. But yeah,
She looks just like you, actually.
that's what some people say, but I don't see it myself.
She does. She's precious, though. She looks like she looks like a doll. I haven't met her in person yet, but I've seen pictures. And then what do you have going on in the backyard?
Oh, I'm finishing my ADU for myself. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He finally has an indoor toilet.
All right.
That's exciting.
Please.
No more camping in Gardena.
Everything has its lessons, and I've learned a lot of lessons.
Well,
from
we can
this.
share that one on an after hours podcast. How about that? And we always like to share a little bit of news about what's going on in the dog world. And, probably I think some of our next podcasts, we're going to focus on just the plight of dogs and what's happening. And we have touched on that. And actually, at the end of this podcast, it's something that we're going to start doing every week. I will be talking about dogs in our local shelters, giving out the A numbers, their animal ID numbers, and information about how you can contact that local shelter. I think personally for me, I was thinking about it this morning. I've been a little remiss, and there are so many amazing dogs right now that need homes. I mean, statistically, I think we lose, I don't know exactly, but millions of dogs and cats are killed every year in the country. And we have thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs that are sitting in our local shelters here in Southern California. And yes, it was brought to my attention. I was tagged in a post. A woman in California was driving home, and she happened to see on the side of the freeway there were 7 puppies that had been dumped, just like running kind of up and down the freeway in a brush area. And God bless this woman. She did stop, and she grabbed the dogs and she took them in. And, now she's looking for people to help her. Medical expenses. I mean, that's another thing. Like this dog, Samson, that was here last night, he's got the typical stuff that happens when dogs come out of shelters, a little bit of kennel cough, a little bit of, stuff in the poop. But, when rescues take on dogs, it's not just, take the dog. And I've shared this before. There's a lot that goes into taking that dog. So the fact that people, and it's been going on for a while, but that people are just dumping dogs, leaving them in parks, tying them to trees. The thought of dumping puppies on the side of a freeway, most people, it's shocking. And it's still shocking to me. And I've been doing this work for a long time, but it's also something that I'm just like, yep, this is what's happening. And so again, when that kind of thing happens and people reach out for help, we do need long-term fosters. We need people to donate for medical, because all those puppies have to get spayed and neutered. They always, they have to get their first round of vaccines, things like that. So I can't stress enough. And I won't go into great detail, but I met a young woman about a month ago at my local vet. I was helping a dog that had been hit by a car, not one of our dogs, but I was connected to a family that saw a dog hit by a car, and actually a female, she wound up doing great. She's okay. But I met this young girl there that had purchased a puppy off of Craigslist. And I met the puppy briefly, very, very sick. He had parvo. And she, of course, didn't know, paid $700 for this dog. And my rescue paid for the first round of treatment for parvo, but he was so sick that it was, he needed to go into hospitalization. And at the low end for a puppy with parvo, you're talking at least $5,000 to start. And it's a lot of money, and it's not a guarantee. And they went to some different vets, and they're an amazing family, and I'm very grateful that I connected with them. But they wound up euthanizing. The puppy's name was Snoop. And they wound up, I think they had him for 48 hours. But we had all the information. And what I did was I told this young woman, I said, listen, And I'm kind of a bulldog when it comes to stuff like this. That's why like rescue really does wear you out, because the stuff that you see, and then God just, just puts people in my life sometimes. But I told this young girl, I said, you have a responsibility now to follow up and let, this county know what's going on. And so she did, and she was amazing. And we presented all this evidence, the Craigslist ad, pictures of Snoop, pictures of the other puppies, vet records, euthanasia record. And I followed up every day. I've shared this, Yuki, I shared the story with you, to the point of just sheer frustration, because there's only so much that county can do, unfortunately. But it's just one of those things, like, talking about what's going on. There are so many dogs in need, and then what happens with, backyard breeders and people selling dogs to people that just don't know. And what I was able to do with this young girl, I mean, she was probably in her 20s. I say young girl, but I was able to educate her also. I just said, hey, there are so many dogs, like any type of dog that you're looking for. I just saw another post, and now I'm rambling. There was a whole bunch of golden doodles that were being bred in a backyard. I think there were like 20 or 30 of them living in crates. And people will spend thousands of dollars on these dogs. So it was a God shot to meet her. She stood up for what she knew she needed to do at that point. County's aware. They went out several times. My fear is that I think probably the other puppies passed away in the backyard but this guy is on their radar. And that's, it's something that we just, as rescuers and people that are exposed to what's happening in our society with animals, it's like once you see something, we all have a responsibility. Whether you're in rescue, you adopt, you foster, if you see something happening with an animal that's neglectful, abusive. I know people that have seen people throw dogs out of cars. A friend of mine, actually, she adopted a Pyrenees. A friend of hers saw somebody dumping 2 Pyrenees on the side of the 405 freeway, and she wound up adopting one of the dogs. So we all sometimes, we have the ability to make a difference, is what I'm saying. But we all may see something at some point, and so don't be afraid to stand up. Don't be afraid, because I've always said this, since I got into rescue, like, animals do not have a voice. And that's why it is so exhausting, because sometimes the stuff you see, you're just like, oh my gosh. But you keep fighting and fighting and pushing and pushing. And we can't save them all, but we can save dogs like Ace. And we can save some of them. And we can stand up for them. And I think that's the most important thing. So
it would take a toll on anyone, especially a rescue person, to have to address the situation of how this happens and why it happens. And it's just a terrible thing. That's why this podcast today, dedicated to adoption, it's so important that if you can adopt, please do so, and from a shelter and not a breeder, especially a breeder that's doing it illegally, like in their backyard.
That's right.
So please adopt from the shelter if you can. And the last couple times I was with the shelter with Jessica, it seemed like the odds are that for every 2 that get adopted, 3 get turned in that same day. So it's a losing proposition. So we need to change those odds, definitely. Spay and neuter all your cats and dogs. But for sure, adoption is probably one of the best ways to improve the shelter's dogs' lives.
Absolutely. And as you can see, we don't quite let go of our adopters. We invite them over for holidays, and we go to their home, and they come to the foster house. And so there's a lot of ways to make a difference, but you adopted from us. Yeah. You adopted Ace from us. And so tell us about the transition of when you guys finally got him back to your house. What did that look like? Matt, do you want to share?
Well, let's see. You guys brought him over, right?
Yeah.
Did we bring him over? Well, you guys came here first.
We came here.
To the foster house, and then you met him. And then, yes, because I don't let go easily.
We came here as a family.
That's
The 4
right.
of us came.
Yep.
We got to meet him, spend a little time, make sure that
You guys took him for a
everybody got
walk,
along.
you and your kids. Mm-hmm.
And after a walk or 2, definitely looked like everybody was getting along.
Yep.
Looked like he had the right temperament that we were looking for. Yeah, I think we all felt good about it.
Okay.
And with the other options we were looking at, it took a couple days of thought,
Right.
and I think
As it should.
we made the right decision.
Great. And so we think Yuki, we brought him over together because, again, he was in this home for 2 years. So it was but you guys are so fantastic. I mean, right away, I was like, oh gosh, I was praying. I'm like, oh, I hope they say yes. And when you guys, Camille, you texted right away and you were like, yeah, we want him. And so when we brought him over, so what was that like though? Because that's what we really do want to talk about, because there is such a process in deciding what kind of dog you want for your family, finally meeting that dog, deciding that dog is the right fit. So when we drove away crying, bye Ace.
Let's see, what did he do?
What was it like? Yeah, when you first got him into your home, because you have got this new, like, living, breathing, dog in your house.
Well, let's see. I think one of the first things we had to do was get him the belly band. He has a habit, right? So he likes to sniff.
So what's a
and
belly
he
band,
likes to
Matt?
pee.
Tell everybody. Yeah,
So it's like a male diaper for a dog.
that's right. He does like to leave his, hey, I've been
he marks
here.
everything. So
Right. I think
So, yeah,
we shared that with y'all.
we
Did
had,
we?
yeah. I
Okay.
think you gave us one.
Oh, we
to
probably
borrow.
To borrow.
Yeah,
I don't
did
want
you
it back.
back?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Okay.
But I don't think he came with it. But
We
did-
maybe
did he?
purchased
We
you
may
guys
have-
one.
No, Jessica gave us one, and then I ended up buying a little pack just in case. I mean, he had
We had
a handful. He had a handful of accidents, but that was the first couple of weeks we had him, and
Right.
ever since he hasn't really had an accident. So,
Those weren't accidents.
or like when we went to my aunt's house, I put a belly band on him because I kind of knew she had a dog. She had like a smaller dog, so I
Right.
kind of knew. So we put it on him, and it was fine.
So what did you guys do prior? Like, you knew you were adopting him, paperwork was done, all that good stuff. Like, we're driving him over. How did you prepare your home for Ace?
Definitely did some cleaning, just made sure there wasn't any toys or
Right.
anything that he could get a hold of and chew on. We had his food ready, his snacks ready. We had his bed with some toys on there.
Little sign on the wall.
We had his name on the wall.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to say. When I walked into y'all's house and I saw, now I remember like bringing him over, but Ace on the wall and then his bed and everything, I was just like, it's the most amazing thing in the world when a dog finds a home like
You started
guys.
crying, and then I started crying.
It was beautiful. I mean, you're everything that we wanted for him, more than we wanted for him. I mean, you guys are the most incredible family for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I saw the name, I was like, I think didn't we spend the night that night just to make sure everything was okay with Ace? I'm kidding. We didn't spend the night.
Remember that.
We stayed in the car. Right, but you got, you had the bed, you had toys. We talked about the food, and that's very important because when you have a dog for as long as we had Ace here, they're used to eating certain foods. It's just, and even if you transition him, which you're such an amazing mom and dad to him and all the different types of food, which, you can talk about that. You transitioned him away from what we were feeding him here, but it's important to know what he's used to. Yeah. So any other things that you guys did to just prepare for him?
So we had to have some family talks,
Yep, for sure.
definitely, to make sure that everybody was on the same page with how we would behave and treat him.
That's right.
Not everyone follows that.
Especially when you have, are you looking at your wife or are you talking about your kids?
not me.
Yeah, no baby talk, right?
We never discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this
So-
is not marital counseling, so that's another
So-
podcast for another day. I'm just
No,
kidding.
we also scheduled it to when you guys dropped him off, it would just be us two
Right.
and not with the girls, so it wouldn't overwhelm him.
Yeah.
So I think that following Monday, the girls came to the house and he was kind of already transitioned a little bit, just adjusting. We didn't want to bombard him with too many people.
Yeah, because it can be overwhelming. And then I can't remember because he was crated here for a little bit, but then the crate was like left open and he could go in and out. So did you guys purchase the crate? Because I know you had a crate waiting for him.
It was actually Ashley. She
Okay.
donated one to us.
She did,
Yeah,
okay.
so we had one pretty much already set up.
Yep.
So his bed was just there and he would just go in and out as he pleased. And then
Right.
if we left the house, we would just put him in the crate and then just lock the door. And
And he was
Yeah.
fine with the
Yeah.
crate. He loved
I mean,
it.
the crate's really big and he has a bunch of space to spread out and just
Yeah.
lay. So
Because Yuki, we kind of set the tone here, right, in the foster house. Sorry, Matt. Like initially, he was crated, and I think it's important, just kind of digressing a little bit, but I think it is important to go backwards. I mean, when you take a dog out of a shelter, you're not quite sure what they're capable of in terms of either destruction or escaping or other dogs. So you set the tone here with that, with the crate.
When I first got him, I thought the gates to the rooms would keep him contained.
Ha ha ha.
But nights when I come home, I'd say, "Hey, what is Ace doing in the front room?" And the other two are still in the kitchen. And so at that point, I said, "I guess I better crate him just to make sure that he is safe, that he doesn't get into trouble or get stuck going over the fence." So
Ace would be peering
And
out
the
of the
thing is,
blinds.
he likes the crate after a while, and so did the other two dogs that he was staying with, Molly and Bailey. And so there were times I'd come in and they're all sleeping in the same crate. Doors wide open, they're all in there. I'm going, "Oh my God." But yeah, that worked out great.
Do you guys still crate him when you, like, if everybody leaves to go out to dinner or do something with the girls, you guys leave?
Yeah.
Leave him in the crate? Yeah.
We've left it open and given him a couple trials
Sure.
of being free in the house. He ends up on the couch.
The brand new couch.
well, also, and we've seen him like go on the counter and pull some snacks.
Oh,
Oh, do you guys have cameras?
oh yes, he does that.
Yeah,
He
so
does
we're like,
that.
okay, we're gonna.
He's like, I like Fritos.
but it's funny because he pulls it, but he doesn't open it. But it's on the floor. So.
Yeah. But I think it's so smart. I mean, I think some dogs are just like, they're safer in their but it also just creates like a den.
Yeah.
And they just feel at home. I mean, it doesn't mean he'll be in there forever,
No.
but you guys set the tone because we set the tone and you followed through. And it was never something, some dogs truly don't acclimate to being crated. But for Ace, it's like, okay. And then you come home, you know where he is.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy because usually when I'm working, he's sleeping in the crate. We just leave the door open
Because you work
all
yeah,
day,
you're
every
home.
day.
Right.
And sometimes I'll leave a blanket next to me and he's like, no. And he just goes in the crate and he's just laid out, sleeping,
Yeah.
and he loves it. And I mean, if we're going out, we're like, go to the kennel. He just goes in, no questions, and he just sits there.
With those
loves-
beautiful eyes.
He loves it.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's fantastic. And you guys paid attention again, which is super important about all the ways that you set up your home. And then I think it's also important because you do have, I mean, your girls aren't that young, but younger, to let Ace come in and get acclimated. I do want to talk about, you know, like the routine that you set up, like where is he going to sleep? Where did he eat? Like exercise, things like that. Like how did you start to, you know, put that into your routines as well? Because when you bring a dog into the home, it changes everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they should, you know, you're here and they're here, but you have to provide for them. And he's a very active dog. You know, some dogs would just like to sleep on the couch all day or sleep on a dog bed all day, but Ace is a very different dog. So if you don't mind talking a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of crate, we have him crated right in front of our hallway. So as soon as you exit our room, you see him.
And he sleeps in there at night.
Yep. He sleeps in there. And then we open the door and he goes straight to the back door to go to the bathroom.
Do y'all have a dog door? I can't remember. You do, right?
We do on the screen, but not on the main door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have to like open up another for him to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he does have a door to come in and out, which is really nice.
right.
And he loves it. So he can just come in and out when he pleases.
Okay.
And then we have the food bowl pretty close to the doggy door. So then he can just, after he eats, he can go do his business and he can come back in.
And he likes to lay outside, right, during the
Yeah,
day? Because
he-
again, if
when
you
it's
work
sunny,
from
yeah.
home, it's different. Like the dog can go in and out, and you only have you only have Ace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Matt, what about you? You know, and especially, and you don't have to go into detail about, you know, the girls, but just, you know, bringing a dog into a home what is it that you like? What discussions maybe did you have with your girls? Like what, how did you prepare them to live with the dog, and what kind of sold you on our boy?
They're no stranger to dogs.
Yeah.
So
okay.
But in this case, because he's an older dog, because he came from the foster situation. Thank you.
That's okay. We're going to edit everything. Yeah. You speak right into that microphone.
Yeah, because he came from a foster situation, we did the precautions of just being careful.
Sure.
Mainly in terms of like, don't scare him.
Yeah.
Right. Don't. You got to be careful playing with him.
And can I just stop you there? That's such an important point that you just shared. Can you go into that just a little bit? Like when you say don't scare him, what does that mean for younger people in a family?
Well, I mean, I think it's like handling, like gentle handling.
Right. That's right. If
Noises,
he's sleeping.
Yeah. Like I know a lot of like kids when they get a puppy or something, they're just, they're what, Elmira? Is that the cartoon character from, okay, never mind.
I don't know. I'm thinking Elvira now.
No.
No, okay.
It was a cartoon character who just loved animals and would like squeeze them to
death. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, like not let him go, and they're like,
yeah,
I'm dying.
So it was like, none of that. It's like,
okay.
Like hugging him, laying with him,
sure,
laying on top of him, pulling his ears, his tail, stuff like that.
So smart, right?
Those are all things that he doesn't know us. We don't know him well enough.
That's right.
You can't treat him like that yet. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, at some point, that does come if he's comfortable with it. And
I don't know. Do you think he's comfortable now?
Oh yeah, he's very comfortable with it.
But you're so smart as like a dad and, as a mom, just to have those conversations again with your kids, because I don't know, how often it happens, but a dog comes into a home, a kid goes up, especially a dog is sleeping, wakes them up, startles them. The dog may do something, not meaning to, but just out of fear. And then the dog winds up being returned.
We try to have that rule in the house. Like, don't wake people when they're sleeping.
Yeah,
don't
good.
wake the dog when they're sleeping.
I like that. Okay.
So he needs his rest.
And how long would you say it took for like Ace and the girls to really form like a cohesive relationship, like where you trusted them with Ace and Ace with them? And if you had to put a time frame on that.
I think it was different for each of the girls.
Okay.
Maybe in the order of like 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
For one, and then the other maybe closer to 6 months.
Okay. To be super comfortable and just.
Yeah, with my youngest, like he was not thrilled about her being so playful with him.
Sure.
And so that took some time, and it took some scolding on like both parts.
Both parts.
Of like, you need to leave him alone. And
right.
then there were times where like he growled at her.
Yeah.
And everybody like shut that down real quick.
And you have to. And I remember actually you guys reaching us out to, I think, me about that. Yeah. And we communicated. But listen, communication is key when you bring a dog into the home. A dog growling is not the end of the world, but it's about being a strong pack leader, correcting the behavior right away, and understanding what is the trigger prior to that behavior happening. Because if you see the trigger and the dog is acting out of fear, insecurity, whatever's happening, then you can immediately start to correct that. And I'm all for it. So like you said, correcting him and then also letting your daughter know, hey, if this is what Ace is doing when you do this, because sometimes like energy in kids can be stressful for dogs, or they want to give too much attention, like you were saying, and then dogs are like, yeah, it's making me feel a little uncomfortable. And dogs can't obviously verbally say, hey, back away. But I love the fact that you guys never gave up. You had those communications with your kids. You corrected him. You also gave him, and we can talk about like the amount of exercise that he needs. And then now, like everybody lives, like there's no issues, correct?
No.
Actually, at the Carson shelter, posted on the window.
Oh, hi, Yuki. I forgot you were down there. Hello, my friend.
And in this podcast, you'll see a chart that I took a picture of at the shelter, listing the 333s and explaining what that means.
Tell us, Yuki, one more brief
off
time.
Off the top of my head, I can't exactly remember what the 333s specifically entails, but it's very important that anyone that does adopt a new dog, that they understand the 333, because what Camille and Matt are talking about are exactly what 333 are all about.
Yeah.
and they did a great job,
An amazing job.
wonderful job.
Yeah, we need
what
a
are
zillion
these
more.
333s?
It's 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah. So like 3 days is like sometimes you won't even, you'll just let a dog kind of be in the environment, especially when they come out of Ace has got such an amazing personality. Even the fact that he was on the euthanasia list is kind of shocking to me because he's just such an easy-go-lucky. I know he's not a perfect dog, and there are no perfect dogs, but it's like some dogs, like for the first 3 days, 3 weeks, what you just have to really let them start to feel comfortable in their new environment, and that's when it would be totally hands-off. But again, like you guys were saying, great job on that. And I think it's important for people out there with kids to emulate what y'all did with your girls.
So what is that? 3 days to feel comfortable, 3 weeks to find a routine, and 3 months to feel at home?
Exactly. In a nutshell.
Something close to that,
Yeah. Because like some people will want to bring dogs home and then it's like the first day, like your cartoon character, hug and love and all that. And even though we want to give that love, especially when we know dogs have been in stressful, fearful, not great environments, but a lot of dogs can't take in that type of affection right away. It's overwhelming for them. Mm-hmm. And again, like a growl or even like a little like showing of the teeth or whatever it is, it's like that dog is just saying to you, hey, like I'm not comfortable right now. Okay, so these are all great things that we've talked about. Again, transitioning a dog from a shelter into a home or a shelter, foster home into their forever home. Let's talk about, because actually Ace had several health issues. So let's talk about preparing to bring a dog into your home and what that looks like in terms of a vet.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, with Ace, we didn't know he had so many issues. But, prior to that, I had a dog. He had cancer. He had arthritis. I kind of knew what to do with like going to the vet. And so like we just noticed that he was having a hard time. And so we took him to the vet and we found out that he had a bilateral hernia and he wasn't fixed. And so it was just, he went to do a lot of tests and he got a lot of x-rays done and then he had a surgery and it was pretty overwhelming. But I think we were at a point when we got a dog, we were like, okay, we know he's a little bit older. There will likely eventually be health issues within the next several years. So we understood that, yes, there will be vet bills and that we could handle that if it arises.
It was pretty extreme, though.
Yeah.
We needed help. Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica, she helped at one point, and then her friend,
donated for the surgery.
She donated, basically, she covered the whole surgery, which was such a blessing, honestly. Like when Jessica told me, I started crying.
Yeah.
But it was like that first month we got him, we just started noticing that he had issues, and then we took him to multiple doctors, and then they were like, he has to have surgery, and we're like, okay. So we were just really blessed to just have the support and help from Jessica and her friend. Yeah.
And that's something, when you do bring a dog into your home, issues will come up. We had no idea, like it was shocking. Could have knocked me over with a feather when we found out that he wasn't neutered, because on his paperwork from the shelter, it definitely says neutered. But there are things that go on that you just don't know. Like this little guy I had last night here for one night. He has massive, you just don't know what you're necessarily getting into. And so having a vet is very important. A vet that you'll go to for routine checkups and vaccines and things of that nature. But also, like I'll tell my clients, you need to know where your nearest emergency vet is as well, because things can happen at any moment. I know in our area, we have a lot of VCAs. There's also access. We've talked about that before, but, being prepared. And as, a rescue, and I have built some, deep roots here in the community, and, our friend definitely, and it was and that's what people do when they can. She loved Ace. She knew your story. And so her foundation was able to cover the cost of that surgery, but being thoughtful about that. And also that goes back to, and we'll talk about this on another podcast, but pet insurance. And it's not always necessarily like viable when you have older dogs, because a lot of things are pre-existing conditions. And so you can't get the best coverage. But for people that get younger dogs, puppies, it's super important to get insurance. And even looking into it, when you do adopt an older dog, there might be some things that are covered, even just vaccines and things like that. But, being able to take care of those vet visits is important, because when you bring a dog into your home, that dog is now part of your family. So it's like, oh my gosh, okay, now this dog has to have an $8,000 surgery. How are we going to cover that? And just having those things in the back of your mind, because dogs are not disposable because they have health issues, because they will. So super important. But now, and he's had some other issues come up, but maybe Camille, just quickly talk about what you've done in terms of, because food is something else, and we touched on that.
Yeah.
What you've done in order to maintain his health and things of that nature.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of research, and I follow a lot of pet nutritionists online. And I bought a couple of books as well. And so we can't afford a raw diet, but what we'll do is we'll have his kibble, and then we'll include things like hemp seeds, sardines, chia seeds, coconut water, just pure coconut water, even coconut oil, like spirulina, just additives that can help extend his life.
Sure.
And we like to mix it up too. And even with like veggies, we're doing a lot of testing on what kind of veggies and fruit he likes. So, just so it's better for his health. And we just wanted to make it more enjoyable for him too. We just don't want to give him kibble.
Right.
And it seems kind of boring. So it's just a learning process. Like, we're still figuring it out today.
Yeah. And how long have you guys had him now?
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
We adopted him in October, right? Yeah, not last year, but the year before.
Okay.
So 2023.
So yeah, just another thing to think about, again, when you're bringing a dog into your home and you've adopted that dog, what are you going to feed him? And like, we touched on a little while ago, we fed certain food here because, it's a foster home. But then, we started adding different things into the food. And then when you get your dog home, you're going to start to know your dog better, obviously. And then you start to give, especially with Ace, like things that are going to prolong his life, his health, his joints, things like that. And then also, I know it's in our contract. I'm a big stickler on it, which is why I noticed it immediately when Ace got out of the car. What is Ace not wearing today?
Tag. Yeah,
I'm like,
I forgot his tag. I was late. I was like rushing, so I was like, oh, let's go. I know.
I have an eye for detail. I'm like, where's Ace's collar and ID tag? But that's something else. We provided that for you, I think, initially with our rescue tag on there. But, registering the microchip, having a collar and an ID tag on him. Like, these are things that are important when you bring a dog into your home.
Yeah.
For safety, in case, God forbid, he got away, somebody could identify him, call you guys, things like that. So what am I missing? What are some other things that you guys did as a family that really just help that transition from this foster home to your home?
I know we did a lot of walks together. We had the girls give him treats, and even just training too. Like, all of us were training with him.
Great.
We were giving him treats. We were rewarding him. So he felt love from all four of us.
It's important.
And what else?
He needed a lot of training walking, as you recall. He's a puller.
Yeah. So talk about that, Matt, because I know you spent a lot of time. And I think you guys built a great relationship in that regard, just the two of you. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about that, because that can be a challenge for some new adopters. Walking a dog, what do you walk them on? How do you start that process?
Trying to make him heel, which is from my past experience with dogs, we've always trained them to heel.
Sure.
And he is not, he's gotten much better now.
He's not compliant.
He kind of is now, like on a walk, like it depends on who's walking him.
Right.
So if I'm walking him, he'll generally heel.
Okay.
There is times where, I'll let him go and he's got to get some freedom. But to me, that's very important.
Yeah.
And it's very important. I even teach my kids to do that, and they don't follow.
To heel?
No. Well, to make him heel.
Oh, to make
when
him
they're
heel.
walking.
Okay. Well, you went from, it's good to have kids walk right next to you too. But it's something that was important to you, and that is important, like, again, when, we're letting go of dogs. Like, when we adopt the dog out, it's like we are saying, we trust you, we love you guys. Here's Ace, we put 2 years into him in this home, but now we want you to establish that relationship with him. And again, for you, Matt, I know it was important, but I also think it's a bonding. And then also, like you said, to teach your girls, and then your girls have more control over him during the walks and things like that. And it also just builds respect.
Yeah, it's kind of like a pack leader thing.
It is a
And
pack leader
if you
thing.
let your dog walk you,
What does that mean?
they have no respect for you,
Yeah.
or very little at least.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important. So you start to set the tone. You start to build your own routine with him. And how much exercise does he get daily? I mean, we know you guys do so much with him outside, but on a day-to-day.
I mean, we've had to cut it down.
Okay.
I think partly because of our busy schedules, but mostly because of the situation with his back right now.
Yeah, he just had recently something come up.
Yeah, we found out that he's got several fused vertebrae because of that. Like, there's limited motion that he's supposed to have.
Right.
So we still walk him a lot and still run him, but probably he's not supposed to be jumping.
Right. He can't jump. So anytime he comes in out of a car, we have to carry him.
Okay.
But I mean, typically I try to give him a walk during the day, like during my lunch break.
Sure.
And then again, in the evening, I'll do some jogging. But the doctor's like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go crazy, but he can still run. Just
Sure.
make sure that,
You just have to manage it.
yeah, just manage it. And if you know, like if we're going to take him on a big hike, we always give him his pain meds and his muscle relaxant the night before and then right after the hike, just to ease any discomfort.
Yeah, for sure. And you also know, because when you met Ace and we talked about Ace, you know the type of dog he is in terms of his activity level. And so, you know, not taking a dog into your home that's not going to, you know, if you're not hikers and walkers and joggers, he's not the dog for
Yeah,
you.
right. Yeah.
But he is the dog for you.
I would love to get another dog, but
Oh, I can find you a dog. Okay, so we're here talking about Ace with Matt and Camille and Yuki, our silent partner over there. And when we got Ace out of Carson Shelter, he was in a home with multiple other dogs. And it was a transition. So we walked them together to create a cohesive pack. You don't just throw dogs together. So let's talk about, even though Ace is a single dog, if you did want to bring another dog into the home, Yuki, why don't you take this one? What would you suggest? Because we're going to find Matt and Camille a new dog,
This is
another
based
dog.
on his history.
Look
He
at
is
Ace.
safe with dogs his size, his age, and his activity level. From the past, he doesn't like a dog that's too young, that doesn't understand social space. So another mature dog would be perfect for him.
He demands respect.
Yes. A mature dog that is mellow would be a perfect match for him.
And how would you, if they said, hey, we do want to bring a new dog, I keep saying new, but like a friend for Ace, somebody, another dog into the home, how would you suggest they do that? What would be the steps to make sure it was, you know, effective and safe? And
I would say introduce them outside of the house,
Right.
in a neutral space where one isn't protective of the territory. Make it a neutral area where they can both get to know each other, and be leashed, of course, and then slowly let them check each other out. One good sign is that they go and start sniffing each other's butts. That's their protocol for getting friendly.
Yep.
But when you see that happening, then you're pretty much you could be pretty much confident that it'll probably work out, since they're not getting aggressive at that point, that they're like just getting to know each other and accepting the other dog. And that would be the start. Then go on a walk with them. Make sure when they're walking together, you know, they're both getting along and not eyeballing each other.
Yeah.
And if you're an experienced dog owner, you can understand or see signs of, quote, one dog looking at the other dog in a different way. So you'll have to break that thought from that dog of what that dog might do or think of doing. Just kind of get him out of the chain of thought and just have him go back to the walk. And you have to learn to recognize that, though, as a dog owner with multiple dogs, especially new dogs. And then if all goes well at that point, then you probably bring them into the house and see how they get along together with that.
Ace is excited.
He looked
said,
at you like, no.
Ace says, outside is okay, but I don't know about inside of the house. But that's why I think, I'm just going to interject and then continue, but that's why fostering is really good. I mean, we don't do foster to adopt, but if you could connect with a rescue and say, hey, we are into like possibly short-term fostering, then you can see how Ace would do with another dog.
No need.
Matt, we've already signed you up. You're going to have about 50 people calling you after this podcast. But Yuki, all those are great points. It's a multi-dog household. And actually, if you already have another dog, ideally, like as a rescue, if somebody had a dog and they wanted to adopt a dog that my rescue had, we would definitely do a meet and greet. And like you said, Yuki, outside, creating a cohesive pack, neutral territory, watch how they did together, make sure, like you said, not eyeballing each other too much, interested, but not overly interested. And then if that went well, then you would take that dog to the home. I mean, it would be a slow and steady process.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe feeding them separately. Some dogs are resource guarders. There could be jealousy. I always tell my clients, no toys, no treats. There's a lot of ways to do it to make sure that it's a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, that's okay.
And on the extreme end, especially with bigger dogs, smaller dogs, it won't be such a problem because they're not as strong and they can't inflict a lot of pain. But if it's two big dogs, even in my situation where I do have one dog that's very protective and territorial, I put a muzzle on her. And days at a time, I'll leave the muzzle on with the new dog and try to correct any misbehaviors. And eventually, the dog that had the muzzle on learns that, hey, you cannot do this, and that's why you're wearing the muzzle.
Yeah, and you don't leave it on for days at a time.
No, I don't wear not 24 hours, but anytime it's with the new dog.
Yeah,
just to be safe. You don't want anything to happen. You just monitor their behavior, and eventually it works out great. And that's what I did with my dog and the other dog.
Right.
And now they get along great.
And I am looking at like some of the other things that we were going to talk about. House training we touched on briefly. Ace is obviously house trained, but in the beginning you guys put a belly band on him. So I think also like just being thoughtful, and it's a marathon, it's not a sprint when you bring a dog into your home, like minimizing your expectations. Because like you guys talked about, you're getting to know him, he's getting to know you, creating that routine, making sure, I'm sure with Ace, like he got out, like you guys were saying, lots of walks, introducing him to your backyard so he knew where to go to the bathroom. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to say about that. So it minimizes also your stress. Anything else on the house training piece for you guys?
No, I mean, for the most part, he's pretty good. Anything with like toys, he just sticks with his toys.
Okay.
He doesn't really dig through the trash. I mean, I think the younger one, she has some toys that look appealing to him. So he'll put them on his bed, but he's not really a destroyer.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, he's pretty well behaved. Yeah. She'll give him her toys when she's done with it, and then he'll leave toys in their room.
So if you were going to give any words of wisdom from your experience adopting Ace, and I know you said, your girls were used to having dogs around, but what would you want to say? Like really, like maybe your top 3 or even top 5 things, like when you're thinking about a dog, bringing a dog into your home, what would you say?
I think the biggest thing for me is just patience.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that the dog is coming from a high stress environment and they just need time to adjust. Mm-hmm. And so just giving them their own space, not bombarding them or giving them too much love.
Which sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
But it can be like you were saying about your girls, like, just wanting to hug and love him. But if a dog's not used to that, or it comes at them too fast, it can be incredibly overwhelming. Yeah. And that's why you guys, like you said, brought Ace into your home first without your girls even being there. Gave him, I think you said, a week to kind of get acclimated. And then you brought the girls because the girls are excited. There's Ace. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is patience, and then just giving space too.
Right.
That's the biggest thing I can think of when we first got him. It's like, I even wanted to just like squeeze him.
I know
like,
how much you love him.
It's like, no, give him the space. I'll pet him. But you really just want him to adjust and just kind of find his space in the home and get used to us.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
I mean, I would also stress the importance of researching the breed and knowing yourself,
right,
in your family situation, to know, okay, what kind of activity level can you support?
Absolutely.
What kind of cleaning level can you support?
That's true.
what kind of habits. Yeah, I think at one point we were looking at a husky
You were.
and realized like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This is not going to work.
Yeah.
None of us can handle that kind of energy.
Well, I think
Well, with our current situation,
I know, yeah.
it was like,
But you're right.
It would be great, but
it's such a smart thing. You
like-
guys were thoughtful. It's not like, oh, he's so cute, let's take him home and we can make it work. It's like you realize, no, that particular dog, I remember that process, was not the right dog for y'all.
well, not even that particular dog, but
Okay.
any husky
Yeah.
would not have.
But we love our huskies.
Absolutely, I do love them, but
Yeah.
I think just we couldn't care for it properly.
Right.
We couldn't give it the exercise it needed and deserved. So.
Yeah. You're very smart to say that.
And
right?
we were already looking for an older dog or a low energy dog. So he is low energy.
Is he?
Yeah, he is.
No, I think.
He sleeps like most
I mean,
of the day.
he sleeps during the day.
Take it
but
over, Camille.
He sleeps during the day, but he will never say no to a walk.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. Like as soon as you put on the harness, he's ready to go.
He's mellowing, but
Yeah.
I would not have called Ace like low energy when we first got him out of the shelter. Would you have said low energy for Ace? Maybe my memory is.
I would say he's got a lot of endurance.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
an actually
Lot of
that's a
energy.
great
A lot of
word.
endurance,
Actually,
yeah.
okay,
He'll walk and walk and walk.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's true.
okay,
He's got the
But-
endurance,
But he
not the
does
energy
also
to run.
love to lay around,
yeah.
especially when he's inside after a walk and he's in his crate or something. Yeah, he'll do that too.
Yeah. Oh, we've taken him on like 8-mile hikes,
Yes.
and he's great with that. But you run him, yeah, he can't handle running for maybe more than like 20, 30 minutes. And
Okay.
then he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, endurance is a great word for, yeah. And then he could also probably lay around and watch movies with you guys all day
Oh, yeah.
if that's what you decided to do. But again, just to recap, and I mean, we've covered a bunch of great stuff, being prepared even prior to bringing Ace home. You had a crate, you had his food, water bowl, food bowl, collar,
Toys.
ID tag, leash. Yeah.
I even I don't know, for me when I went all in and I got him all his shampoos and even though we're not going to give him a bath immediately, I was like, I bought shampoos, I had a bed, I had bed covers and just all these things. And I was like, I'm so ready to get this new dog. And
Which is so exciting.
yeah,
It's what we want.
yeah,
You're excited and then he comes in and he's excited and then you just build this relationship.
yeah.
And now it's just, you can't imagine your life without him.
No, never.
Yeah. And I'll just touch on one more thing because we did talk about the visible ID, and I'm very big on dogs, like their safety, and especially when a dog first comes out of a shelter or foster home. So I know for my rescue, we immediately register the microchip, and that's something that we talked to you guys about. So the dog would be registered under my rescue. And then as soon as you guys adopted Ace, you became the primary on the chip, and we pay for that. And then my rescue becomes the secondary. And just maintaining that, information on the microchip, collar, ID tag, super important. And yeah, just know your dog, be thoughtful about it, and, enjoy the ride. They just don't live long enough, right? I mean, he's got a long life ahead of him. You guys have done just an amazing job with him.
And I think from listening to Matt and Camille, it is a learning experience on both you and your pet. It's very important they both learn about each other and how you react and how the goods and bads and what makes them want to do more for you. It's so important just to get to know each other, and that takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the 3 threes.
Yeah. 333s. And also reaching out to, I'm very hands-on. If you adopt from a rescue, staying in touch with that rescue. Not all rescues are as overbearing as I am, but building that relationship. So when you did have those issues initially with Ace and your younger daughter, you could reach out and get help. And if you don't have a rescue that's like that, reaching out to a professional trainer. There's so much help that you can get. So just not giving up. Like you had said, Camille, patience is the most important thing. We have to minimize our expectations. We don't know what these dogs have been through even prior to coming into the shelter. And then they get bounced into a foster home, which this is a great foster home. But, it's they're just moved around so much. And then they go into a home. And so just really taking that time to prepare for them, let them be who they are, evolve with them, build that respect relationship, Matt, like you said, with the walking and the training. And then you have a dog that will just, do anything for you, love you forever. All right, guys. Well, we are so grateful again that you've joined us for this 5th actual podcast of Triple D's with our boy Ace right here coming up on the couch and with Matt and Camille. Thanks so much for driving out. And again, we talked about once you make that decision of adopting a dog, actually preparing to bring that dog into your home and everything that looked like. And if there's anything else that you guys want to add before we sign off today, anything at all?
Just love your dog.
Yeah, right?
And treat them like your family.
Because they are family.
They're the best. And you won't regret adopting a dog.
Matt, words of wisdom.
Same thing. They only have so much time on this earth.
Yeah.
Enjoy them while you can.
And do you think it honestly, like it's enriched your girls' lives as well, right? Having Ace in their lives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It brings the family together.
Yeah. And taught them also, I think, a little bit of responsibility too. On a different
Still
level.
working on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, they're young. Okay.
I will say though, the younger one, she loves Ace.
Yeah.
Like I think she interacts with Ace more than the older one. But she's always like hugging him and she always puts her face next to him and he's just like, I love it. He loves it so much now.
It's so sweet. Yeah.
That's the one that used to get growled at.
Yeah. And now they're like the best of friends.
Like best friends. They'll go in the crate together and like
She
hang
lays
out.
down in the
and,
crate with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She combs him and just loves to brush him.
And it just took
and he
time.
just
Like
loves
every
it.
great thing just takes a little bit of time. So you creating that, foundation with your girls and with Ace and creating that structure. And now here we are, like a year and a half, I think you guys said later that you've had them. And now it's just great. It's beautiful. All right, Yuki, what do we have coming up, my friend?
We will have another podcast with another guest that we had on previously.
Who is that guest?
That is Ceylon.
Right?
Just a wonderful person that also does fostering, both cats and dogs. And she's a really funny person, makes great food,
Yes, she does.
which you can online order from her on Mondays. And you can either have her delivered or you can go over there and pick it up yourself like I do. Thanks to our beverage today, Scott and Cellar.
Scout and Cellar.
That's the
Woo-woo.
brand. It's clean, fresh, no food coloring, added sugar. Makes you feel good after you finish drinking a bottle. There's no problem.
Looking
It's
for that
healthy
sponsorship,
wine.
huh?
It tastes good.
Yeah,
Yes, and that
right?
it
You
tastes
guys
good.
liked it, right?
I liked
Yes.
it.
And I think we're heading somewhere in the next few months.
Yes, we're going to Las Vegas
Woo woo!
with the dogs.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, baby.
The dogs will definitely have a fun trip.
Yeah, we're going to take
They-
a few
they love to
dogs with
travel.
us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to just enhance your life and their life by taking these trips together and, just enjoying their life together.
Absolutely. I
Can you
forgot
go see
I had
some
my-
shows?
Yeah, we're
Take the dogs to the shows.
yeah, Cirque du Soleil.
We'll eat some good food, that's for sure. Good
I don't know.
food.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, we're going to drive out there with them. We'll have a little episode on our Vegas adventure. I'm going to take 2 of my dogs. Yuki's going to take one of his dogs. And we're going to see how far we can push it with the dogs in Las Vegas.
Go to Red Rocks.
Red Rocks?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Red Rocks Park.
Oh.
The state-
I know what that is. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
a wonderful
state
place
park.
to go hiking.
okay.
beautiful.
We
Yeah.
could do that with the
Hiking,
dogs.
climbing.
You guys should meet us there with Ace. We'll give you the dates off air in case any of our fans try to find us. Although I think we want our fans to find us, right? All right. Well, that's it for this episode. We have rambled on, but I think we've covered some good ground. Again, you guys are just an amazing example of being thoughtful even before adopting a dog, really talking about and thinking about what kind of dog would fit your family best. And then just creating that space for him, being ready for him, letting him get comfortable. And now just growing into, like we talked about, this beautiful relationship with, you guys, your girls, and with Ace. There's nothing better. It's the only reason I do rescue is because you guys that are sitting on this couch today make it all worthwhile. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for getting Ace
Next
for us.
time.
You're welcome.
Wait,
Thanks for
watch
wanting-
for us.
You matured him like a fine wine.